Hello everyone and welcome to Gears of Games, and also to my first episode of Let's Play Dark Souls, or Let's Die a Lot in Dark Souls as I've aptly named it. If you don't know what Dark Souls is, it's an action role-playing game developed by Japanese developer From Software and released in late 2011. Actually one of my favorite games from 2011. And I suppose it's kind of an old game by now, so why make a let's play of it? Well, I just kind of like the game and it gives me an excuse to play it through one more time. And I wanted to do a let's play for quite some time, so I thought why not? And hopefully it will be entertaining for someone out there. And I will be playing the PlayStation 3 version, but the game is also available for the Xbox and will be made available or will be released for the PC in August this year, which seems pretty interesting actually. I'm not sure I'm going to buy it, but I'm definitely going to look into it. I know that there's going to be some additional content added, some additional bosses and maps, but I don't know very much else about it, so we'll see what happens. Definitely worth checking out. So if you're into action RPGs and a PC gamer, definitely look into it in August this year. Now, Dark Souls is pretty famous for being pretty damn difficult. And that is pretty much true, but I suppose you could say that the game is more like unforgiving than difficult, I suppose. If you make a mistake in the game will punish you. It will rip your ass off, shove it down your throat, yank it right back up again and slap you in the face with it and go, fuck you player, go back and do it again and do it right this time. So it's definitely worth checking out before you buy it if you don't like challenging games. Anyway, I've created a character here already, so I'm not going to bore you with the character creation. You can see the character to the right, but now I'm going to press the accept button so we can have less talk and more bloodshed, and also check out the first cutscene of the game.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire. And with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone skills. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the age of fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Ah, isn't that cute? An undead rat. So, here we are, in the Northern Undead Asylum. This is me, and apparently something went very wrong in this land, and everyone, well, pretty much died and became undead. That's why I've got this interesting complexion and these beautiful features. Truly a face only a zombie mum could love. Anyway, I'm going to start by picking up this item here, which is the dungeon cell key, which allows me to get out of this cell. And by the way, before I start, I would like to say this is not the first time I'm playing this game. I've played it before. I've solved it once, and I have some other characters going as well. But it is some time ago that I played it, so I might have forgotten things, and hopefully that means that we'll discover some interesting stuff, you know, and run into some surprises as well. And I'm not going to show you all of the game, but I'm going to try and show you the things I remember and the stuff that is interesting, and try to die as much as possible while doing that. Well, I'm sure I'm not going to have to try very hard. Here's the first interesting thing to note in the game. This message on the floor here, which I can read, which is basically a developer message which shows me how to control the game. These messages you can actually write them yourselves later on in the game for other players to read online, and you can also read other players' messages. And so there's a way for you to help, or even actually try to fool other players, try to trick them. Anyway, I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna kill these guys with my pathetic weapon at the moment, which is just a sword hilt, basically. And as I kill these guys, oops, I gain souls. You can see down to the right, I now have 40 souls, and souls can be used to buy stuff and to level up, basically. Hello! Cold feet, eh? Die. And no, these guys aren't particularly hard to kill, but trust me, it will get worse. Let's climb out of here. And right about now we should come up to a bonfire. that we can light, and sitting next to it is a shadow of another human player. This is a pretty cool mechanic that's coming from Demon Souls, which is the predecessor to Dark Souls. So you can basically, for a brief moment, see what other players are doing in the world, or rather in their world, as long as they're online, of course. Pretty cool stuff. I'm going to rest at this bonfire, and by doing so I'm actually kind of creating a checkpoint. So this is the spot where I will respawn if I die. And I can also do many other things at the bonfire, but right now I can only leave, so that's what I'm going to do. We're going to check out the bonfires more thoroughly later. I'm going to run up to these very interesting looking double doors, which takes forever to open. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, you can do it. Yes! And say hello to the first boss, kinda. And this guy is an annoying bugger. Just run away. Don't even think about killing him. It's going to take forever, and you most likely will die. There is actually a way of killing him. Either you... well, there's two ways of killing him. Either you're very good and very patient and kill him with the hiltless sword, or the sword hilt rather, or you select bombs as your starting gift. You can actually get different gifts when you create your character, and you can get bombs, and if you use them you can kill him with, I think, 4 or 5 bombs, which is fairly easy. And then you will get a weapon, a ginormous mace of some sort. I think it's not usable initially in the game. You are not strong enough to use it, but I did that once, and that was interesting, I suppose. And there's another bonfire! Yay! Usually they are not this frequent. This is kind of the tutorial level, so they are quite close together. I'm gonna light that and run into here and run into my first annoying enemy, which is an archer, and I'm also going to find a corpse to pillage and a leather shield, which is my first shield, which I'm going to equip. I'm going to equip that in my left hand, and you can just hold this up to block enemies and block arrows as well, so I'm going to do that. Yeah, do your worst. Yeah. Alright, there's another corpse to pillage over here. I'm going to let him run off. And here's my Scimitar, my weapon. I'm going to equip that as well, which is going to be a huge improvement over my straight sword hilt, which is completely useless. Well, maybe not completely useless. I think actually, if I'm not mistaken, that there is a use for it somehow. I can't just quite remember how. I don't know if you can like build it into some different weapon much later on in the game. I can't remember, but anyway, I'm going to switch to the Scimitar because that will be more useful right now. And I'm going to find my friend the archer, and I'm going to stab him in the back. That's another interesting mechanic of Dark Souls. You can backstab enemies for much increased damage. Yeah, right, this is this staircase with a trap on it. I'm going to avoid that. Oops, a boulder that falls or rolls down and smashes this wall. Which leads us to our first encounter with the knight. I think it's the same knight that dropped the corpse into our cell. Thank you very much, dude. That's very helpful of you. I'm going to have a chat with this guy and see what he says.
Oh, you. You're no hollow, hmm? Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you?
Well, okay.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission. But perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. And thine exodus from the Undead Asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask, an undead favorite.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, and this.
Ah, thank you.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now. And thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Take care. The Estus flask that I just picked up is basically a healing item, and you can see it down to the left. I've got 5 charges, and I also want to mention the hollow. You mentioned hollows. This is basically the state you're in when you're undead. You're basically a hollow. And if you gain humanity later on in the game, you can actually revert hollow and come back to life, which can be quite useful. I'm going to talk more about that later, but for now I'm going to run up the stairs and annihilate this guy up here. No, don't you swing that sword at me. Goodbye. I'm going to open up this gate. Lots of messages here, but I'm going to ignore them because they are all developer messages, and I don't care about them right now because I've already read them. Oh, hello guys. Worth noting about the combat mechanics of the game is that you've got your hit points on the top to the left. Oops. I shouldn't talk and fight at the same time, apparently. Up to the left you've got the hit points of your character, and below that you've got stamina. And as you run around and fight, your stamina decreases, and you need to have stamina available for you to be able to attack. So you need to watch that. And you will also lose stamina when enemies attack you. For instance, when you block with your shield, you will lose stamina as the enemy hits your shield. So you need to keep a sharp eye on that stamina bar. Otherwise things can get pretty depressing pretty quickly. Well, what are you firing at? Goodbye! I'm just going to run in here and annihilate this guy as well. Hello. Let's see if we can backstab him. Oh no, I couldn't. Another chance. Yes! I love me some backstabbing. Nothing like the smell of backstabs in the morning. And this white light here is actually usually a separator between areas, and it can mean that there's a boss fight coming up, and in this case there is a boss fight. It's not always necessarily so. It can just be like a separator between areas, as I said. But behind this white light there is the first boss, the guy that I kind of ran away from. Time to face up to him. And I'm gonna perform a plunge attack on this guy, which is simply dropping down from above and pressing the attack button. As you can see, that did a healthy amount of damage to this guy. Oops. Oh my god, that hurt, you bastard. Oh god, this can get embarrassing. What are you... Oh my god, as you can see, he eats away at my stamina bar. Ooh! Oh man. No. Oh, butt slam time. Try and get behind him because I like to be there. No, I don't really like to be behind him. I find it rather disturbing, but it's slightly safer than in front of him. Jesus, I'm taking forever killing this guy. What am I... what am I doing? What am I doing? Die! Just die, please. And that gives me the key out of here, but I'm gonna... And I also got some humanity. I'm gonna talk about that some more later, but I'm gonna run down... No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna run out. I don't need to visit the bonfire again. That's quite unnecessary. Another pair of big doors, which takes forever to open. Come on. Right. It's a nice view, this, right? Really beautiful. I really like the graphics of this game. They really look very nice. And if I'm not mistaken, there's some stuff down... Oop, down here. Oh, don't fall down. Yes, some Soul of Lost Undead. This is basically what is known as a soul item. If you consume it or use it, you will gain souls, which you can then use to upgrade or level up and buy stuff. Time for cutscene number 2. I'll shut up now.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead will be chosen.
I really like this cutscene, it's really cool.
To leave the Undead Asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
So here we are, arriving in Lordran by first-class crow transport. And Lordran, or well, rather Firelink Shrine as this area is called, as you'll soon find out, I think. Firelink Shrine. This is basically the like the hub of the game, or kind of the safe area of the game. And as you can see, there's another bonfire which I'm going to light up. And as you can see, I can do some more things at the bonfire right now, and I'm going to talk about that soon enough. But I'm going to have a chat with this guy over here. See if he's got anything interesting to say.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess, fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first, but there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the Undead Asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are actually 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the Undead Church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happened. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
Yeah, I fail to see the fun in that, mate. Anyway, I think this guy's actually the same voice actor that did a similar character in Demon Souls. I think he was in the Nexus. Pretty much looks the same as well. And he's still kind of being a bit too, you know, melodramatic and a bit of an overactor. But generally speaking, the voice acting in Dark Souls is pretty good. But anyway, he's hinting at what we should do. We should go and find 2 bells, one up above and one deep, deep down below. And that's what we're going to do eventually. But since we're coming up on 20 minutes, I think we'll just end the video here and continue in the next episode. So, thank you for watching and see you in the next episode. Bye.